I've got the looks and the charm of an old movie star. Cary Grant, if you will, so I find it bizarre that this girl should refuse to step into my car. She must be shy, she'll come around, it's just a matter of time. Aurora, Aurora.
Hey there, Screamines, and welcome to Screen Snark, a podcast that celebrates all of the shows that are in our eyes, on our minds, and in our hearts. I am Rachel Corky Shank.
And I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon. And we are back.
We're still distancing at this point as of this recording.
Correct.
And I will start this episode the same way I started last episode. Maybe it's done by the time this gets out.
Yeah.
Maybe we're free.
Who knows?
Probably not, because Cuomo said that we're inside till the end of April, and I don't think this episode's gonna come out after April.
No, it won't. But still, the positivity I appreciate.
Yeah, we're gonna punch Corona in the face.
We're going to do something a little different this episode, which you already know if you've read the title. But if you're coming in completely blind, which you could be, first I want to introduce our incredible guest, the lovely and talented and brilliant Hazel Tart. Hazel,
hello.
Yeah!
Hello, thank you for having me.
You're
It's
welcome.
weirdly like having like a celebrity on board. Like
Yeah.
I have followed Hazel's career from the rock bar days, so it's like I'm a little overwhelmed, to be honest.
Can I
Like,
just say, Rock Bar did a virtual trivia night the other week on Facebook Live, and it was so cute because all the regulars were in the chat. We were all catching up, and it was adorable.
That's
the
amazing.
End.
I love that. And we've brought in the big guns, as it were, because
I have never once been called the big guns.
Well,
this is
you're
we're in the major leagues now.
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 Because, as you know, when anything major with Steven Universe happens, we try and talk about it. We've talked about the show. We brought a two-time guest to talk about the movie.
Yes. Hey, Bevan, what's up?
Bevan, we love you. And so now we are bringing in Hazel Tart to discuss the conclusion of Steven Universe, the final season called Steven Universe Future, which takes place after the movie.
The
denouement.
denouement.
The denouement, because we need to talk about it because so much has happened and it was ended so well. I think we can all agree. My thought to bring Hazel in is because Hazel and I have been friends for a while, but our friendship hit a new peak when we realized we both love Steven Universe, and culminated in me going to New Jersey with him and a mutual friend, Jeremy, to hang out with our mutual friend, Anna, and watch the movie together, along with the infamous Madge the Pug on the internet, the internet's favorite pug.
That's true. We drove all the way to New Jersey just to watch Steven Universe.
Yep.
Madge the Pug. I love Madge.
I wish we could get Madge the Pug on this podcast, but it would be unlistenable.
But it would be great.
Would it be unlistenable, or would it be Pug ASMR? Has anyone tapped into that?
That's true. Yeah.
Just saying.
Ooh,
People
that's
without
very
dogs
good.
could really use that right now as we're all social distancing and staying inside all the time.
That's true. Ooh, that's wise.
Yes.
Madge the Pug, get at us.
Yes. Come on the show.
Come on the show. Open invitation for Madge the Pug.
But because of that and our bonding over that, I was like, oh, Hazel has to come on to talk about the ending of the show because I was behind on the final season of Steven Universe regular before the movie and Steven Universe Future, and
Steven Universe past.
And when I got to the finale of that season before the movie, I was like in hysterics and texting with Hazel on the phone because
we all were. We were in shock for ages.
Yeah. And so I was like, we formed this strong bond, and I thought they would be a phenomenal guest. And so I'm really excited for all of us to talk about Steven Universe Future because I think this season, this final season of the show, while it still feels like what we knew, I feel like it's also completely different from what came before. Like, just
absolutely.
how they're tackling pretty much everything.
Yeah. The way that also advance, obviously you've read the title, fair listeners. We're gonna spoil the hell out of Steven Universe Future.
Yes.
Definitely also the movie and the whole show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of it.
Nothing is
So,
off limits.
Yeah, go away if you haven't watched and you don't want to know what happens to our very good Beach City boy.
But if you do go away, live tweet and at me at every single one. Because I cannot tell you the number of people that I have ushered into Steven Universe and then basically relived the first time through their eyes. Like, unintentionally, my past 2 relationships both watched Steven Universe. And they had it before me. I got 3 relationships. Oh, God.
Yeah, it's... Hi, what are we going to do now that our gospel is done? What are we going to do? No, I got my entire Dungeons & Dragons group into Steven Universe just by virtue of being like, oh my gosh, you guys would love this show.
I'm so proud of you.
It's so gay. You can't even, like... Oh my God.
So like,
no, it was like a trickle effect where like one did it and then
it's a
another,
flood.
then another, and then it was just like, please tell me your thoughts, and like it went from I really ship Pearl and Garnet to what was I thinking this whole time? Thanks, Liz, friend of the podcast. It's my favorite of all. Just like her being so excited about Pearl and Garnet, and I was like, oh, you have no idea.
Nope.
Oh, my friend. Oh,
it's coming.
Ultimate ship has yet to be revealed.
Yes. The ship that's the ship of the creators, by the way. Important to note that Ian Jones-Cordy and Rebecca Sugar are essentially Ruby and Sapphire, respectively. They wrote their wedding into this show before they actually had their wedding for real.
I love it.
I can't
so
believe
much.
that.
I just love it so much. Okay, so but we're focusing on future today, right?
Yes.
Okay. So,
yes, but the whole thing.
Like, so when the last episode of Steven Universe Original Flavor happened, the episode called Change Your Mind.
Yes.
They and we already knew that a movie was happening and that there was probably going to be more. I was really uncertain about it because I was like, this is the perfect place to stop. Why are we not stopping here? Like, can we not ruin a perfect thing?
Yeah.
And then the movie happened, and the movie was good. I didn't love it at the time. I didn't necessarily think it was needed or important in any way.
Yeah.
And then Future happened, and now I have all the feels.
Yeah. It's kind of phenomenal how I felt about the movie has changed now that Future has happened, because it continues the story of the movie. And actually, like in the couple of episodes that Spinell reappears, it feels like there's a celebrity almost, because like they were in the movie. They're not from just the show, and so to see them again,
they from around here.
It's just like, it was kind of really cool to wrap that back. I just feel like not a lot of shows do a movie that wraps back up into the show really well. Like, the only other thing I can think of is The Simpsons did a movie and then still did their show, and I don't think they're connected. I think they're just disparate adventures.
Yeah. No, I was going to say I think My Hero does a really good job of doing movies that sort of lead back into the show, but then I realized, no, the first one's on an island that's never mentioned in the television show, and then the second one is like also on another island. I think that it's not really connected to the show.
They make bottles. They make bottles, and then they put the bottle on the shelf and just let it get dusty.
And then it's just like, it's fine. That adventure happened outside of all of this. It's still canon, but it's not.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Whereas, like, with this, I feel like Steven Universe Original Flavor, I need to stop calling it that, was...
I like it.
Steven...
I vote we call it Original Flavor.
Original Flavor. Was Steven saving everyone and saving the universe, and usually doing a lot of, like, those big character developing moments by himself.
Mm-hmm.
And Steven Universe Future was Steven trying once again to save somebody by himself, but it was himself that he was trying to save. And so ultimately he kind of failed at it.
Yeah, it's great.
And I was like, oh, that's why we needed Future, because we needed Steven to deal with his own bullshit.
Yeah, and it's so wonderful because I know there was an interesting conversation that was happening after the movie about Spinell's character and the way that it felt kind of dismissive to some folks who struggle with issues of neurodiversity and all of that, where it's like, you can't just sing away your problems, you know? And it's kind of weird that most of Steven Universe is based in this idea that you can sing away your problems. But I think what Steven Universe is doing is you need someone to be there for you, to empathize with you, an outside individual to just be like, hey, I know it hurts and it's still hurting. You know, that entire sequence with Pearl and volleyball, you know, when did you stop hurting? I didn't, you know, and
please don't bring
support
that.
system.
You just gave me chills.
I know, I said it and I regret it, but I don't. But yeah. And Steven has always been kind of this self-sacrificing character. You can go as far back into the temple trials that Pearl, Garnet, and Amethyst put together for him, and he puts on a brave face for them because they're trying and they don't know. But they've essentially failed him in a major way with this silly thing that they didn't know what to do. But it's long been understood that Steven will put himself in harm's way to help others.
Well, okay.
But he can't do that for himself. He can't step outside of his own being and talk to him. And even when he tries to, it's just amplified all of this trauma that's in his life. And I think it's so incredible that we have this piece that sort of answers that quandary of, yes, you can't sing away all of your problems. What do you do when you can't? What is the real world solution for this? Therapy.
Did either of you see? I think it was Rebecca that posted recently about the extended version of the theme song. Did either of you see that post?
I don't think I did.
So she talked about how the extended version of the theme song was meant to be the first warning flag of what Steven Universe Future ended up being all about.
Yeah.
And I was so glad she said that, because it bothered me listening to it. So for those of you who don't know the extended version, you know, it's each of the Crystal Gems has a verse about what they're fighting for and what they represent. And then Steven has his verse, and it's oh god, now I'm not even going to be able to remember how it goes. Because now I just want to sing the entire song start to finish. How does it go? It's something along the lines of, I'm just gonna pull it up. Steven Universe.
Yeah, I'm singing in my
Extended
head.
theme,
And I'm
yep.
for everything that we believed in, I'm fighting
Yeah, I don't know the song
Here we
well
go.
enough.
I know it so well, but you have to start at the
It
beginning.
falls out of my head, yeah.
Yeah. This is everything I've ever known.
Okay, found it.
I will fight for everything that everyone wants me to be when I'm grown.
There we go. So he's not fighting for his own desires. He's just trying to be. He's just trying to be what other people tell him that he's supposed to be, and what he thinks other people are expecting him to be. And
the great mystery of all of Steven Flavor Original Universe. I did a bad job at that. Boy, oh boy. Is Steven Rose? Is he his mother? Is he truly his own being? Is Rose Quartz really gone?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is what makes the tail end of the season more powerful, when you find out that Rose was actually Pink Diamond. And now there are multiple levels to Steven's disconnection, because now not only is he worried about whether he's his mom or not, but now he's also living through the trauma of discovering that who he was told the greatest villain was actually him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, but even in future, how we find out more about Steven's human side that I didn't expect to find out.
I know.
I thought we knew everything about Greg. I thought we knew everything about his human side.
It made me so happy, his stuff in this one.
Yeah.
Oh,
so happy.
So it was okay. So the episode that we are obviously now going to talk about, Mr. Universe, deals with where Greg came from in terms of like who his parents were. They break into Steven's grandparents' house to find an item. And this is when Steven realizes like what normal childhood should look like.
Right.
So yeah, no, I just want to
how close his human his human family was to Beach City, and he never knew how close that family was. Like, he didn't even know that they were there.
Yeah. And just like seeing Steven realize that he has craved this structure to his life, similar to like Connie has with her parents, but like it's difficult to be a child who's raised a certain way and doesn't know any other way. Like, I remember way back in, I don't know, maybe like season 2 even, where Connie talks about going to school and Steven's like, what's school? You know, and it's just this incredible like way we come back to all of those moments where we've been having fun because Steven is a half gem alien being. You know, he's part human, part light, I guess. That's neat. But to come full circle with the relationship that he has with his father, and you see plain as day that Greg Universe is a good dad, but he's a bad father. He's a bad father. Like, he does not bring parental protection or guidance in the way that parents should, that they have an onus to their children to do. And just that moment when he says, I'm proud of you, instead of I'm sorry, is staggering.
Yeah. I think what's really fascinating about Future versus the rest of the stuff is that it starts with Steven just trying to be Steven, as he always has been. And then the whole tail half is all of the fallout from that not working, right?
And that was so like when Future started, like it was these really cute like little storyline bits, and like I was glad to just like still be living in the world of Steven Universe, but there was that disconnect where like as the audience member living through Steven, I felt like, why this feels weird. This feels like we're playing at something. And they did that really well to like, it took me time to realize, oh, this is on purpose. This is how Steven's feeling, is how the audience is feeling. And it was really just beautiful watching him try to be human and try to live this new life. And it just like nothing resonated the same way.
And not only just like trying to live his life, but experiencing the loss of your support group in the way that they used to be. You know, like after all of the gym tyranny is done, the diamonds have stepped down, democracy lives in the outer universe. Listen, I'm going to vote for Zircon. I'm sorry. Like, at me if you want. I think Zircon has a good plan for egalitarian rights for all gem kind. I think Zircon, though, like, does not. I think Zircon is just like a puppet pretender for like the diamonds.
You're not wrong.
You know what I mean. Sorry to get political.
I mean,
this show.
We were gonna head that way anyway. It just happens, you know.
I really just need to see who the running mates are to make my decision.
Exactly.
Like, who's gonna be like the second gem in command? You know, like it really makes a difference. But just watching everybody sort of like peel off with their lives, you know, like I was pretty bummed that we saw so little of our 3 original gems through a lot of the series, but it needed to be that way. You needed to feel kind of like you were isolated away from them in like major moments, you know, which is why it was such a gift to have Steven tag all of the sudden in this new way. You know, but like we'd been sort of disconnected and like working through some things. Connie's not around for a large portion of this. Greg is also on tour with Sadie and Sadie's partner, whose name I forgot. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I want to say Shep, but I don't think that's right.
No, that's right.
Is it Shep?
Yep.
I think so.
Good. Okay, because Animal Crossing just brought in a character named Shep for John, and so I thought I was just picking an Animal Crossing character name, and I was so sad.
I typed in Shep into Google. The first one was Shep Steven Universe. The second one was Shep Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing, very good, very good.
Excellent.
I'm so very glad.
Google
I hope
knows
that's
me.
a coincidence.
Google
I hope
knows
that
me really,
is
really well.
very good. But
yeah.
yeah, and then Lars goes back to space with the off colors. You know, there's
one thing that
no
I really
one
wanted
around.
The one thing that I really wanted, and I'm pretty sure I told this to Storm when we were driving out to see the movie in New Jersey. What I thought should be the last season after the movie, that they should have just left it and made a standalone season of Lars and the Off Colors and their journey to Earth.
Yeah.
Yes.
But now I'm glad
Yes.
because then I would have felt that the movie was really out of place.
Yeah.
I mean, I still want that just because like Lars and the
Yeah.
Off Colors have my heart
Yeah.
in its entirety.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know. So yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that what's really fascinating about this season versus the other seasons, and like we get to spend less time with all those characters that we've grown to love that are not Steven. But I feel like the actual chunk of Steven Universe leading up to the movie was not just about Steven, it was about the gems and all those other characters. Like the town was the main character.
Yeah.
But the only way to make us realize how alone Steven felt in the final season was to have those characters less, to have those relationships less, because you wouldn't get a sense of the loneliness he's feeling if you didn't have that dichotomy. It would have just felt like more of the same, and like in the same way that like the show starts off pretty goofy and over the top, and then eventually leans into the drama and the in-depth storytelling. I think it was necessary to go on the flip side, but still do the same thing, because the first 3 or 4 episodes are still pretty goofy in this final season, and then with some moments of seriousness, which is reminiscent of early Steven Universe, and then you get hit with the heavier stuff towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sorry to go back to Rachel's point a minute ago about the gems not being in this last season very much. The crystal gems, the original 3. You made me realize, like while we're recording, that the gems, their life expectancy is so different than humans that this probably does not seem like that much passage of time to be like drifting apart and like letting Steven do his own thing, you know, because like they've lived for thousands of years without him, you know, like their urgency to get back to life and to get back to a goal or a routine after the entire universe almost ended, like their wind down time from their cool down period from that is probably a lot longer than Steven's. Right. But yeah, I do think it was really important to sort of like mirror the first season in that way, which they did so well in the last episode.
Yeah.
Cookie Cat, I laughed when it started, and then I was crying by the end of it.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, it's
it
like-
was
Also,
it was that like little button of just like, hey, remember when? But now like it's that final circle of like the hero's journey where like you come back to the quote unquote real world, but you're inexorably changed, and all of them are changed.
Yeah.
You know, like Pearl's letting loose. You know, Garnet is more in touch with an emotional side of her. Amethyst is more confident in who she is. It's amazing. Like there's so much heavy lifting being done just in that Cookie Cat song. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and like even the end of that episode, like what's really fascinating to me is, you know, the credits seem fairly isolated in the final season until you watch that final episode, and like
Yeah.
it's funny, like I expected to be hysterical watching that episode, and while I did cry, I wasn't hysterical because of how it ended, if that makes sense, because of the catharsis and because of the genuine open emotion of the final scenes. Like I was tearing up, but I felt more good and proud of our boy.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think I cried in the last episode. I sobbed in the episodes leading up to it, like the penultimate episode. Like I'm sorry. Are we swearing on this show?
Oh, we can absolutely fucking swear. Don't even worry about it. No. And what's so funny is, like, I've been saying this phrase since Future started. Steven's the big bad of Steven Universe Future.
Yeah.
Steven's the big bad. I didn't know how it was going to manifest. I didn't know how it was going to resolve. But I knew he was going to be the final obstacle. And I cannot believe the choice to make him a giant Godzilla monster because he believes that he is a monster. And the way you beat this monster is the Steven Universe patented method of empathy. Like, the fact that it's a big giant group fucking hug.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. So to get like maybe like a little personal for a minute. So
Sure.
Storm, you know this. Rachel, you probably don't. Like Steven in like the first half of Future was me like the second, like from like I would say like age like 10 until like age 30. And then like I had my like Steven Godzilla moment because I was like when you are that person who is the caretaker and the support and the one who like comes in and just wants to fix everything, it is extremely hard to accept that you need to burden others with your stuff to get better and that you can't fix yourself as well. And so like that, I like having like lived through that and then watching it in a kid's show, I think that they executed it so wonderfully and beautifully and digestible for kids, and like having real adult having like real life adult guidance in there through Connie's mom. And like, oh, this is not like, I felt like that was a moment when the show stepped back and said, yes, this is a fantasy world, but we're stepping into this doctor's office now and here's some real life actual things. Like that felt really important to do, and I think that they did it really well.
Oh yeah, it was. I can't believe the number of times when discussing this show that I have said I cannot fathom how well they have handled this very adult subject for children. You know, like one of the first things that you are dealing with, like literally episode 2, like, yes, Cookie Cat, very funny, he has a shield, he eats a lot of ice cream, he pukes, it's great, episode 1, done. But the second episode is Laser Light Cannon, where we are presented with everyone dealing with the loss of this person that Steven has never met.
Yeah.
The first time I cried was when Tom Sharpling just delivered that Rose. After the light cannon goes off, it's just like, this is loss. This is grief. This is mourning. It is clinging to something that is not coming back and having to move beyond it and move through it. And I could not believe it. Any time that show dealt with death and loss and grief, I was staggered. Just thinking that, like, this is a show for children, and here we are, like, not the Disney your mom's dead, who cares kind of way, like a real life living through loss, growing through it. I can't believe it. I can't. Like, every time I think about this show, I just can't. And to come through it, like, not laughing through real problems in not that it laughs through real problems. Like, Steven has taken a toll to do the things that he's done to bring about, you know, a love of the earth for Lapis and Peridot, you know, like, but they are kind of, if I just love you enough, you'll be fine kind of answers, which is great, but like, loving can only do so much. And I am so proud that Steven Universe has said sometimes loving isn't enough. Sometimes it's not, you know, it'll get you there. It'll open the door. But the fact that, like, even just like a side comment, video chatting with my therapist as I drive across this country was so
Perfect.
important. It was so important.
Yeah.
It made me so. I was so close to emailing my therapist in that moment, just to be like, I just need you to know that this happened in this kid's show and it's really important, and I know I've talked about it a lot in therapy, but maybe you should watch it.
Yeah. Please watch the show. Understand where I'm coming from.
We won't spoil it for you, I promise.
No, and just the delicate way that these very heavy themes have been handled by Rebecca and the Crooniverse. I can't not recommend this show every second, where it's just like, oh, you gotta. And there's no like, how do I explain it? There's no tokenism in characters who are anything other than like gender non-binary. There's nothing in it that's like, we did this for the numbers. We made this person this for selling Pepsi. It's just like, no, that character is just this. That's all. Like, who cares? Like, we do whatever. Like, in the way that I want more things, more shows, more movies, more all of it to just be like, yeah, people exist in various forms and various sexualities, and it's fine. Like, we don't have to make every gender non-binary person a robot or an alien or something. They can just exist. Shep. There you go. Like, they're just here. Like, they're not going away. Here we are. Deal with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love it.
I really think that my favorite thing about this season and the show in general is just how it comes full circle on the reality within this fantasy, like you were talking about in moments. Like, it's hard. I want Steven Universe to be my favorite cartoon of all time. And it's hard just because there are cartoons that do things to my fandom bones that I like more. Like, Gravity Falls is a cartoon that is, I would say, similar to Steven Universe and how it handles a lot of things. Steven Universe goes further, I think, especially on the emotional side, whereas Gravity Falls approaches it and cracks jokes, and looks at it, but not quite in the same way. I think, but the difference is Steven Universe to me isn't just a show, it's an experience. The fact that it's a musical, it's a movie, it's a TV show, it's multi-part. Like, I don't. Are you
calling this show a fusion?
Are you calling the show Fusion? I was going to say.
An experience.
I'm pretty sure. Yes.
You are an experience.
I saw Rachel's face and I was like, I know exactly what you're thinking.
Try to be a good one.
But like, so for me, I've recommended it to people, but also I find a lot like I'm the last, obviously not the last, as we've seen earlier today, but one of the last to experience a lot of it. And so recommending it to a lot of folks, they've already seen it. It's why, like, I was texting Hazel constantly while I was watching the final season, because I was so far behind and I was catching up in a dense amount over a few days to watch the movie that weekend or whenever it was. And it doesn't impact me the same way a regular TV show does, right? There are some shows that do that to me. Like, I just finished watching, as of when we're recording, Castlevania Season 3, and that also, like, gut punched me in the last 2 episodes for a hugely different reason. But that was more of a surprise because they don't do that often. Whereas Steven Universe, I'm more or less, yeah, okay, where are the fields? They're coming. I know we're on our way there.
Where are they?
Yeah.
Well, okay, like, I love Gravity Falls as well. Gravity Falls is a phenomenal show. And you use the word experience. I think the term I would use is an educational tool for the next generation. Like,
yes.
Like that is why it hits so much harder for me than any other show that I've experienced. Is because, like, not only are we getting this education into like the full queer spectrum and, and like neurodiversity and, and like different types of family and different definitions of love and different ways to love and toxic ways of love and companionship. God, I just got so wrapped up that I totally lost my train of thought. Like, not only is it all of that, but I cannot help but watch it. And then as it's happening, I'm thinking to myself, if I had this when I was young.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, I would be so much further, like, I'm still learning things that Steven learned in the show.
Yeah.
Like, I would have
Same.
been so much further along in my emotional development and my emotional maturity if Steven Universe had existed when I was a kid.
I mean, but we also know that if you were a kid, your parents wouldn't have let you watch it anyway.
No,
so.
God, no, they wouldn't have let me watch it. Hell no. No. Lesbian space rocks? No.
But yeah, no, I agree. I think that I see a lot of myself in that show, and yeah, there are breakthroughs that happen that I like. We were talking about the episode where Steven becomes a giant monster, and I'm like, I stared into that episode, and it stared back at me and went, oh, oh, okay, all right, I get it now. Sure. And I think that's what really, at the end of the day, is one of the biggest things about this show is how powerfully it throws back at you what in the back of your mind you might almost already know, but like it really cements. But it doesn't do it in a way that it's designed to make you feel bad about yourself. It's all meant to be uplifting, which the thing I like about this show and the movie more than any other show or movie is that at the end of the day, it's always positivity wins out in the end. It's not because there's endless positivity, but because at the end it's all for the greater good of your own development or those around you. And that we don't have to always be happy for good to happen, and we don't always have to be good to find the good. Like we make mistakes, we stumble, we fumble in the dark. Like all of that stuff was made just as important, whereas a lot of other cartoons, it's like the hero's perfect, the hero makes no mistakes, they're the hero. Yeah. They rescue, in traditional media, it's the white dude rescues the white girl and we move on. And like what I love about the show is that's the last thing on its mind. Like,
for sure. I will say in discussion of Steven as main character and like the fact that Steven is flawed, it's so wonderful to have this entire series not only serve as a way to say Steven isn't perfect, and a lot of the ways that he handled stuff has been damaging to him. Like a lot of the choices that he had to make as a young child, as a preteen into teenager, then teenage liberator of the world, has affected him. There's something about when a heavy thing or series of heavy things happens to you, it kind of changes you internally. Yeah. And to bring this all together to fruition, to my take about this, I think Steven Universe Future is an incredibly humanizing piece for Pink Diamond / Rose Quartz.
Yeah.
I think there's so much about Steven Universe Future that in a way kind of vindicates and forgives Pink / Rose.
Yeah.
Because there's so much in the way that this story unfolds that kind of turns you sour toward Rose. She starts as sort of like this loving being who gave up her form to give life to a child, who was beloved by these crystal gems and mourned by these crystal gems. Then as things come to light and sort of fall through, the way that stories often are told, we sort of find more about this history, this darker side, this secret past. And I think at the end of it all, when we finally meet the Diamonds, we kind of have this moment of like, oh, this child was hurt. This pink child was hurt by her family, but it's not quite enough to get you to remembering that Pink chose to become Rose, and when she became Rose, these were the choices that she had to make. Like, they were big decisions. She was a leader. She was in charge. She was fearful that she was going to lose. There's so much parallel between Steven in Steven Universe Future and Rose, like living with these decisions that you made that worked out for the best, but so much you had to lose and sacrifice, including like a part of your identity. Steven gained some identity by the end of original Flavor, but like, what is that identity now? What does it mean to be fully Steven Universe all of the time? No question. And I'm always really sad for Rose in that regard, that by the end of original Flavor, it's a lot. The mistakes that your mom made are coming back to bite you in the ass. And then in the movie, she was mean to Spinell, and now that's coming back to bite you in the ass as well.
Right.
But then getting to see Steven's mistakes sort of come back to bite him, and the way that he reacts, like turning bright pink and breaking glass and like struggling a lot with his own internal turmoil, I think is just a really great way to subtly discuss Pink/Rose in the same regard. Like,
Yeah,
because I think there's an expectation of your legacy, right? Like, it talks to a lot. Like, I am not someone with famous parents, and I know some folks who have them, but like, I think it speaks a lot to, from what I can glean, this idea of a legacy that precedes you, and like, you know, it came to a culmination in original Flavor about that, like that they kept calling him Pink, and they kept referring to him as that character when he clearly wasn't, but yet he sort of is. And like Future explores that all of that fighting against it that he did really only shows how much more he is like both of those versions than he originally thought.
Yeah.
And I think it says a lot about legacy and how you feel about where you've come from and how you learn to cope with that, because no matter who your parents are, you're going to have difficulty with them. No one has parents they've never fought with. Like, I just don't think that exists. And so there's a degree, whether you don't talk to your parents at all or all the way to you're best friends with your parents, there's still conflict and struggle with that kind of legacy. And I think the show in the final season explores that really well in a way that I wasn't expecting, right? I mean, I don't know what I expected from Future, but I definitely didn't expect that.
I had no expectations. Like I said, I was expecting something like completely off the walls and like just like extra. Just like extra flavor.
Oh yes, a Steven Universe Future. All your ships will be rewarded.
Right,
exactly.
I mean, everybody.
There's all your ships.
Everybody
ships.
was expecting to be rewarded with Lapidot. Oops, all ships.
Oops, all ships. It's fine. We'll see. We'll see all the fusions we wanted to see. We'll see
the number of posts I saw after the last episode of people being like, "Here is a complete list of all the fusions that we never saw," and I was like, "It's not.
That's not what it's about." Yeah. Also,
and like, stop trying to make Lapidot happen. Lapidot's not going to happen.
Yeah. Lapidot doesn't need to happen because Lapis and Peridot as two individual gems who are like so tight, have so much of the same baggage and issue and so much limited experience of Earth. Like, they don't need to fuse. Like,
no. Also, I completely think that Lapis and Peridot are the ace characters of the show. Like,
for sure.
Yeah.
And fusing would go against their characters.
Yeah, and not to say that like fusion is a necessarily like sexual thing.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think it is often used as that.
That, for sure. Yeah. And also, like, I don't know how anybody else would feel, but like the toxicity of malachite just in general, like, I think I would have felt a little bit of character assassination if Lapis had fused with anyone. Like, I think I would have said, I don't think that, maybe in 1,000 years, maybe, but not now. Like, not in this moment. I don't think that fusion is on the table for a character like Lapis, and I don't think fusion is on the table for a character like Peridot either, because I just don't think that that's how they would be comfortable expressing themselves.
I don't think she's interested in it in any way.
Yeah. No.
You both actually reminded me of something when talking about Malachite, of the moment in this season that I resonated with the most was when Steven freaked out after shattering Jasper. Because for me, like, it is common I am considered a very nice person, but I wasn't always. And like, I struggled with my own anger a lot. And I have had those moments where I've watched myself lash out and then immediately regret everything I've done and then replay that scene over and over again in my head, that mistake I made when I lashed out. And that moment, and then even episodes later when now Jasper respects Steven because of that in that twisted way. And then
horrifying.
Like
that moment scared me more than anything.
Yup.
Like I was like, oh, I see this. Like this is something we don't often in cartoons get to see someone make a horrible mistake, immediately regret it, and then it continue to play out in a way where they don't want it to, and they can do nothing to stop it, right?
Yeah.
Because they're so off the rails. And so of all the things that happened in that final season, that moment I got really anxious and upset because I saw something familiar in that terrible moment. Also, like the way they portray it, like the way Steven's reacting, like is literally just word for like. And I can't think of other cartoons that have portrayed major mistakes that way. Like other characters in other cartoons make major mistakes like that, and then they're sad or like they won't talk to anyone or they brood. But this was like pure panic and terror in a way that I've never seen another show capture. And so for me, that was one of the most standout moments because I was a mess by the end of all of that because I saw something that I didn't think I would see in the show.
Yeah. I would say I think though I'm going to speak from my life. I will say that I didn't viscerally react in the same way that either of you did to Steven Monster. I'm not a caregiver. I don't. I can't. If anything, I'm probably more Pearl or Amethyst than any other character in the whole series. But one thing that really struck me with Steven's journey is whenever he starts fixing things, and he's like, "I'm helping," and when he makes those plant beings, I can't remember which plant he did,
Cactus.
but like they're running.
Watermelons?
I can't remember.
Or in future it was a cactus.
It was a cactus, and then he was panicking. He was having like a full blown meltdown.
Oh, right.
He was running around trying to help. Broke an anvil, like turned some plants into alive, and those plants running around yelling, "Steven helps! Steven helps! Steven helps! Steven helps!" I was like, ooh, I feel that one right in the spine, like that feeling of like, but I'm helping, I'm doing the right thing, and like, no, you're not, bud. Like, no, you're not. You're causing more damage because you're not dealing with your own yet.
Mm-hmm. Well, so that was something that I had I had written down as specifically I wanted to talk to you both about is the parallels between this season and then the early seasons, and the way that they tweak, they create this like mirror effect of the early seasons to really give it this like full circle closure, and they do it in such a great way. So like, great example, in the early seasons we had Watermelon Steven, which was like in season 1, like, yes, that was considered a high crisis moment. But looking back on it, it's like funny and cute and doesn't have like that like it's nothing compared to the cactus.
Yeah.
And they did that over and over and over again, like Cookie Cat. Stupid jingle from the first episode. In the last episode, it, like you said, it packs this wallop of emotion.
Yeah.
And like, I just wanted to like talk to like ask you both, like what other things did you notice in the last season that does that? Because I feel like it was everywhere.
Oh yeah, constantly. I would say the proposal scene. Bringing back. That whole episode. Oh boy, that
because we
like
knew where it was going.
I never thought that Steven Universe would like make me cringe and worry in the way that episode made me cringe and worry. But like the recapturing of jam buds and all of these things in like that beach moment, and
even volleyball, like
even
that was
volleyball.
A thing in like the early seasons. Like there was an episode playing volleyball, and then we were like, oh, we're gonna like Pink Diamond's original Pearl. We're gonna not only we're gonna name her volleyball, but we're gonna give you all the feels and a new fusion. You're welcome.
And also a full confirmation that Rebecca Sugar and the Crooniverse watched a lot of Revolutionary Girl Utena. Are you kidding me? Watched a lot of it. That fusion, Mega Pearl, is 100% Utena. I do not care. Fight me, internet. And you will be
I mean, they
wrong.
do that a lot. Like,
oh boy.
Like Lars of the
Can't
Stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like the obvious one is the theme song, right? Like we, and then here we are in the future. Like it in that one note apes the original song, and then it's a completely different song that stands on its own. And like even at the end of the song, is and Steven, instead it's Peridot going Steven Universe Future, like swapping those characters, because Peridot went through a lot of the things in the early seasons that Steven went through.
Yeah.
Kind of at an accelerated rate, because like she was angrier than he was and more emotional than he was on a different scale. And so like to swap those characters in the theme song is just even interesting. Everything with little homeschool, like when the episode where Steven is trying to babysit Onion and also help with the school stuff,
Onion, I can't handle Onion.
Like
Can't handle Onion.
All of that back and forth, or even the little moments of growth, like sour cream DJing in the early days and discovering his
so
DJing
cute.
versus like the roller skating rig where he's a professional DJ feeling confident and doing his thing. There's a lot of that back and forth where when we revisit characters, like the whole time Steven is trying to reconcile Lars and Sadie. Like that was another big cringe moment for me, and I'm like I've been there where you can't understand why your friends are not together anymore, they're not happy anymore, and you worry that you personalize it. Like I've had friends who've gotten divorced, and then I personalize it and go, well, I'm a common factor. Is it me? Did they break up because of me? Which of course it has nothing to do with you.
Or more nefarious, can I get them back together using my powers of understanding and kindness? Can I fix it? Like, and not so much did I break it, but can I fix it?
And that mirrors the first season, because Steven spent so much time trying to push them together.
Yeah.
And so to come back to it and him trying to do the same exact thing he did before where it worked the first time, it's like, yeah, I definitely noticed those things, but it's not until we're talking them through now where I see them more starkly. I have to do a rewatch. I wanted to before this, and I didn't get a chance to, but like I really think I need to now that I know where it's going, because a lot of the time I just found myself dumbfounded when I was shocked at the next whatever the big thing was that happened. And so I think I need to...
Yeah, I would say Steven Universe is one of those rare shows that's like even better the second time around. Like I feel that like The Good Place does that.
Yes.
Steven Universe does that. Like when you can go back and see the breadcrumbs being laid to the answers, like the secret was always there. You just weren't looking for it because you didn't know that it was a secret. And then you go back and you're like, oh boy. Pearl yelling that you didn't have what we had because you were not her Pearl. Just like all of these like moments of just like Garnet being so excited about Stevani for the first time because she's a goddamn fusion and she's seeing a fusion and it's exciting. It's so great. Just like all of those tiny little moments that you think are just there for like fun or like because it was like a cute idea, but you go back and you revisit it and you're just like, oh, this meant something, and I'm very excited to go back to Steven Universe Future and watch all these little moments of like Steven sort of losing his cool and crushing the earth under his feet and not being able to understand why everything's changing around him when everything should be fixed, and when everything's fixed, then it should be normal. It should be as it always was, because that's what fixing something means to Steven.
It's this idea that life, like Steven had this expectation that life can be perfect, and like once you get rid of this one bad thing, that's it. It's perfect forever. When the reality of life is like things can be good while something bad is continually happening in the background, or vice versa. Like everything could be bad, but you could have some good things in your life that help you get through. Yeah. And it shows, where the early seasons were like it was heading towards a goal to solve all the problems. The final season was there's always going to be problems. It's what we do in the face of them, is at the end of it, and or going to find new ones. Like problems aren't always a bad thing. You learn and grow from those things, and the idea of someone setting off to see what's next is really important. And I think considering the final mirror I see is how dependent Steven was in the first season versus, striking out on his own at the end of Future is a great dichotomy message for the whole show of it's still about Steven. The whole thing's still about him, but now it's going to be about him where we don't see what happens because he's entitled to his own story, his solely own story.
Yeah. I don't know if you read an article that was an interview with Rebecca Sugar. She said essentially that sentiment, like the story goes on, but it's not for us to really watch anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's over, it's over for our time of voyeurism of Steven and the gems and all of that, and a comment about, well, who does Pearl end up with? And the answer is it doesn't matter. What matters is Pearl knows that she is a being beyond whatever relationship she's in.
Yeah.
And that's more important, whether or not she got together with Bismuth or the mystery woman from the party or the myriad other people that threw their numbers at her.
I love Pearl Squad. Pearl Squad is the best.
Yeah, or she's some polycule couple kind of gruple deal. Like, who cares? What mattered is that Pearl is no longer defined by any of those standards. Like, who she's with, who she's not with. She's Pearl.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about the ending, too, is, like we were talking about earlier with my fears of the last season, is I was afraid that they were going to use this extra season after the main story's over to give everybody a tied up in a nice little bow. Here is their happily ever after moment.
Right.
Which again, now I understand why the movie existed, because that was what they were all fixated on, was this happily ever after. And now nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to be bad. There's never going to be any more problems. But that's not reality.
Right.
And so I just really appreciated that they gave that a lot of space, and they let us see the trajectory of these characters. We see, Sadie in a new relationship and going off on tour, and we see Lars going back off into space, and we see all of these new adventures beginning, but we don't need to actually know what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to have an incomplete story in this way, just because it really speaks true to the heart of the show, and that, at the end of the day, you can't know everything or predict everything or protect everything, but it's the experiences you've had, how you've grown, how you've learned, and who you've met. And all of those things are still there to revisit, but at the end of the day, they've grown beyond even the audience, because they're entitled to their own resolution, whatever that ends up being.
And yet again, Steven Universe, half Jim, half human boy, shows the humanity in all of us, because that's who we are. Like, yes, he sings about change in the movie. He can make a change, but he has to come to terms with that for everybody. Like, yes, I grew and I changed. So does everybody else.
Yeah.
And what's more important is so do I. And then even more than that, so do we all. Like, think about who we were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Doesn't matter. Like, think about the moments where it felt like this is where it is. This is where it is. This is where the buck stops. Like, this is who I am. Yeah. And then something else will happen, and it's like, nope, try again, keep going, And I think ending Steven Universe on him going somewhere. We don't know where. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know that he and Connie are going to live happily ever after and be married,
I'm so glad they didn't do that.
Oh, jeez, I was so scared about it. I was like, oh, no. Oh. Like, when Sapphire said, it's a good idea, I was like,
no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Well, okay.
Oh, no.
But
Connie, girl, you're going to have some goddamn sins.
Here's the thing I love about Garnet in Future is when you saw Sapphire teaching the class, you can tell, and like in other conversations throughout the season, you can tell that Garnet does not rely on her future vision the way that she used to.
Yeah.
Because she has fully realized, like, she knew that she was an anomaly. And then she realizes that Steven's an anomaly. And then, like, I think she slowly realizes that everyone is an anomaly, and maybe she shouldn't rely on future vision so much.
Yeah.
Because who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I like that they give all the characters the space to learn and grow and change, but they don't throw it in our face either. Like if we don't get a resolution for a certain character, it's not a big deal, right? Like some stories you just don't know. I think
Mr. Smiley's probably fine. Don't panic.
Yeah.
I'm panicking.
Probably fine. Doing okay.
Yeah, no, I think it's a perfect show and it ended perfectly and I'm excited to revisit it.
And also, important thing to note about the show before we start our own Steven Universe denouement of this episode, Connie Maheshwaran is the MVP of all of Steven Universe Future.
Yes.
The moment she rolls up and is just like, y'all gotta stop making this about you.
Yeah.
It is white. It is appreciated that you have recognized that you were a piece of shit. I get it, but now's not the fucking time. Steven's a big giant pink monster, and we gotta do something. Everybody, hold the fucking phone.
Yeah.
Team Human for the win.
Yes,
Team
Connie.
Connie.
The episode,
So
the doctor episode, the fact that it happens after the proposal episode, and she still only cares about him. Like, like that didn't change anything other than she has her uncertainty, but she didn't dwell on that. She still cared about him and still wanted him to be okay. Like, she is the smartest person in every room the whole season. And it's great.
Smartest, not just like in the brains, but in the heart too. Like
Emotionally the smartest person there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
This cannot be. I like screamed at that moment where I was just like, exactly, thank you. God, someone's got to be a fucking adult, and I guess it's none of the 1,000-year-old beings. Okay.
No, they're children.
Yeah.
All goddamn children.
All
The 18-year-old human.
Yeah.
Perma-child. Jess.
Well, this was great to discuss. Hazel, thank you for joining us on discussing it.
Yes, thank you, Hazel.
Yes.
I do want to chat a little bit briefly about the things that you do. So I met you through the
Absolutely.
burlesque scene.
Wait. We can't. Hold on. We each have to describe Steven Universe Future in 3 words, and they cannot be Steven Universe or Future.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was hoping I would escape this game.
Nope.
No, you're right.
It's okay. Hazel, you'll go third. Don't even panic.
I'll go
Matt,
first.
You're up first.
We'll go in order of the way we usually present the things we've watched. So I will go first. I was gonna get really emo with mine, but I don't think that's the proper impression of the final season. So I will say instead the 3 words that best describe it, which is emotional, growth. Oh, is it a sentence now? Life.
You just used 2 of my 3 words.
Emotional growth, life are my 3 words to describe Steven Universe Future. Rachel, what are your 3 words to describe Steven Universe Future as I fill the time while you think?
I can go next if you want. I do know what I want it to be.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Go for it.
And mine is for the entire show.
Okay.
Everything about it.
Perfect.
1 sentence. Pure emotional growth.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Excellent. Love
Like that is the show.
I'm going to say closure without pandering.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Perfect. Yes.
I like that.
Though I am a sucker for a good pandering every so often, I'm glad that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I don't need Pearl Myth to be physically in my life. I can imagine it. It's fine. I'm not worried.
Plenty of people.
Whatever. Pearl's
Wait,
the TA. Are you kidding me?
We have one more thing to discuss.
Okay, yes.
We hinted at it earlier, but we need to discuss the end credit song because
Yes.
in original it was Love Like You.
Love Like You.
And it came to light that it was Rose singing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we have Future, which as Matt mentioned, we got the end credits scene of a car driving away, and we didn't know until the very last episode, and we saw that it was Steven in the car driving away on his road trip. Who is singing that song? Who is singing to be or being human or to be human or whatever that?
I think it's Steven.
Yeah, I think it's Steven to
I
himself.
I think it's Steven as well. Yeah.
which I think is like a perfect, because it was Rose singing to Steven / Pink singing to Steven. And now it's Steven singing to himself.
Yeah, being human.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I couldn't end and not talk about the ending credit scene because that was the moment when I started crying in the last episode. Only time in the last episode was when we realized who was driving that car the entire season.
That's
true. Here. I did pull up the lyrics to Being Human.
Yes.
I'm gonna do this. Just deal with it, everyone. Just a little time. Just a little something else instead. Just a little time. Just a little something up ahead. I'm dreaming of being human. Just a little time. Just a little something that I need. Just a little time. Just a little feeling gaining speed. I'm dreaming of going somewhere and being human. That's Steven's song. Are you kidding me?
That is
definitely
totally Steven's
That
song.
is Steven humming to his little self in the car, finally getting to like divest all of his gem garbage, just going to like goddamn Empire City and like having a drink or whatever, and nobody knows who the hell he is.
Yes.
Yep. All right, I'm glad you brought that up, Hazel. We would have missed a huge important thing without you.
Thank you for finding those lyrics.
But I do want to talk briefly before we wrap up the show a little bit about you. So I met you through the drag scene at Rock Bar and the burlesque scene.
Yes.
And so just tell the listeners a little bit about what you do and maybe a little bit about the podcast you're now currently working on. That's out.
Yeah. I mean, that's my main focus these days. Yeah. So I am Hazel Tart. I am from the far reaches of Maine, small town Maine. I was raised a pastor's kid, moved down to New York, and I've been here ever since. I started doing drag really on a whim, and then that turned into burlesque on a whim. And that's how it goes.
How we do, obviously.
Yeah, and now like all of like the most important people in my life are from one or the other for the most part. And now I am working on a podcast. It started in February. Storm, whenever this quarantine hiatus of the show. So I do have the COVID-19. I'm fine. But I've been on hiatus because of that. Yeah. Whenever it picks back up, Storm, you're next. Your episode is basically done.
Excellent.
So my show is called The Re-Education of Hazel Tart. So like I said, I'm a queer pastor's kid, and I was raised very conservatively. We did not have cable. Anything that did not glorify God directly was not allowed because reasons. Very fluctuating. Like Harry Potter was the worst thing in the world. But Lord of the Rings was fine because it was an allegory. So it's a thing. So anyway, there's a lot of things I don't know.
I understand that difference.
Thank you.
Though. Like I get it. I was a Catholic kid, so I got you. Like,
yes, Pentecostal here. So like I was a pastor's kid, so like I did not understand the extent of the gap in my pop culture knowledge until I started doing drag. And it was like at these burlesque shows when somebody would be like, or like these drag shows, if people know what a drag roulette is, my worst nightmare is a drag queen. Drag roulette at the end of the show where the audience throws out song names and then you just rotate through the queens on stage and you just have to know the song. Queens usually know the songs because like people don't usually throw out deep cuts.
Yeah.
I had to learn TLC's Chasing Waterfalls for a number. I had never heard it before until like 4 years ago.
Wow.
So my show, The Re-Education of Hazel Tart, is me asking my friends to educate me on the things that I missed out on. So for example, Stormageddon and I, in an upcoming episode, will discuss Eve 6. He told me all about Eve 6, a band that I did not believe existed because I had literally never heard of them. Have not heard any of their songs ever. So Stormageddon told me about it, and then he gave me homework of like what of their music I should listen to. I listened to it, and then I reported back at the end of the episode, and that's the entire show. It's really fun.
It's great.
I'm really. Not only is it giving me a lot of things to consume my time with in quarantine, but also it's giving me it's so much more accessible to learn about new things when a friend tells you what it means to you.
Yeah.
Like that's what, like, most of my conversation isn't like I want like the Wikipedia article. No, it's like I want to know why it meant so much to you that when I asked you to be on the show, you were like, I want to talk about this. Like why does it matter that much to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm working on these days, and it's really, really fun.
Yeah, it's great. Some of the episodes that aired have been about Tomb Raider, The Simpsons, like, and it's all.
If it makes you feel better, Hazel, I didn't watch The Simpsons until I was like 29.
Yeah, I mean that was also like, I feel like a big one that like a lot of people's parents were like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's really a really great structure. I love it, and I'm so glad that you're finally doing it because you've been talking about it for a while.
Literally like 5 years.
Literally. I mean, we're not going to talk about here how there's another podcast that's yet to be finished that you were working on that was independent of this.
Oh, you mean the one that I recorded before we even started this project? Yeah, that's another one that'll come out eventually. It's all recorded, but I haven't listened to it yet. It's if you know podcasts, it's serial in structure, so it's one story approached from different angles each episode, meets the Dylan Marin Show, Conversations with People Who Hate Me.
Oh,
and
cool.
so each season is a deep dive into queer existence and the ripple effect that it has on the people around that queer person. And season 1 is me with my family. And so like I sat down and had like hour-long conversations with different members of my family, including my mother, who I hadn't spoken to in 15 years.
Dang.
And so I recorded that December, January 20, like a year ago. And I just have not been able to bring myself to listen to those 3-hour conversations. So I was like, I'm going to do this fun project first because this is so much easier to do. I'm just going to watch Robin Hood Men in Tights. And that's great.
But definitely everyone should go check out Hazel's show. Hazel, is there a place you would like direct folks to find you on the internet? The best place to follow the podcast and what you're doing?
The Instagrams is where I am most active. You can look up, just search Hazel Tart. It's the first one that comes up. That's not my username, but it's the first one that comes up, and it's the easiest way to find me. That's where I'm most active.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And thank you for taking the time to discuss Steven Universe Future with me. With us.
Any time.
All the time, every second.
Listen, if you want to do a retrospective on this in like 6 months, we'll all rewatch it and then do it again.
Yeah.
And we can just do this every 6 months. It'll be like a dentist cleaning for Steven Universe. Every 6 months for the rest of our lives.
I mean, I wouldn't be against it. There's also the possibility of, doing a rewatch podcast. I mean, that's a thing.
It's like, what's that podcast? Till Death Do Us Blart? Where the McElroy brothers and Tim and Guy from Worst Idea of All Time just sit down and watch Paul Blart Mall Cop 2, I think. I think that's the second one. Every year at American Thanksgiving. But, like, we'll do that, but it'll be something we like.
Yes, exactly. But before we ask Hazel our final question that we ask every guest, though, we do have some people to thank. Rachel, will you help me do those thank yous?
Thank you so very much to John Presnell for the use of the song Aurora off the album Fair Game featuring Stefan Remble.
And thank you to the incredible Katie Bug, who designed our lovely logo that we put all over the place. You are awesome.
And thank you to the Certain Point of View podcast network for having us continue to be part of the family, for not firing us or throwing us into a back alley where we meet a bunch of Jellicle cats and we realize that we are Jellicle cats.
Wow, that went in a place
I really hate you for bringing that up.
Yeah, no. I haven't seen it. Well, we're not going to talk about it. But yes, thank you to the Certain POV Network. We love being a part of it. You can get we have a permanent invite link to our Discord server on the website, certainpov.com, where this show and all the other shows on the network have channels and categories to discuss all of the awesome stuff we have going on. So go check that out. And now I guess it's time to ask our final question. Rachel, please.
I'm changing the question.
What?
because we talked about Steven Universe, and I will say that Steven Universe doesn't do a lot of tropes, and I don't feel like doing a lot of tropes with this one. So my question for Hazel is going to switch, and feel free to answer this yourself, Matt, if you want to. I might. I don't know. It just came to me. Making it up as I go. Hazel,
Yes.
what's your gem weapon?
Ooh.
I was trying to predict what you were going to ask. And
You
this
didn't
was-
know. Who knows?
This
I don't
was
even know.
Not one of those
Yeah.
questions. Okay, I am going to say that my weapon.
Do you need us
You know
to
what?
stall for you?
You know what?
What?
No. My weapon is going to be like the Nintendo game Arms, where my limbs can just like go
Stretch.
like
There you go.
stretchy
Springs.
and like springy.
Nice.
Because then I can use them to punch, or I can use them to jump really high with my legs, or I can use them to hug a gigantic Godzilla Steven.
There you
There you
go. That's a perfect weapon.
That's the perfect weapon.
Truly.
My gem weapon are like essentially gem knuckles, sort of like brass knuckles, but made of gems.
Very cool.
Yes.
Very,
'cause I
very garnet. Very the garnet.
Very garnet, but mine are smaller and more precise, and you know, I'm not using these big honking fists that go on the end of a rope sometimes. I'm just using these small weapons because my love, my weapons are precise.
I love that. Mine are
Sorry.
It's fine.
I love you.
I know.
Rachel, what's your weapon?
smoke bombs.
Yes, gem smoke bombs. Excellent.
Gem smoke bombs. Sometimes they might have glitter in them. I don't
They
know.
always have glitter in
They
them.
always, you're right. They always have glitter on them. Smoke bombs with lots of glitter. Because, like, obviously, I'm not a confrontational kind of person in a physical way.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to just be like, escape! Distractions!
Nice.
What's over there? Poof.
What's over there? Pff, ah!
Glitter. This isn't a
Yeah.
Lush store. I didn't put you in my bathtub. What the hell?
Amazing.
Where'd she go?
She's
Gone.
gone.
It's like I was never there.
Well, this has been a delight. Thank you for changing the final question, Rachel.
Of
And thank you
course, we
for
had
being-
to. It was only the right choice.
Thank you for being. Thank you again to Hazel Tart for being on the show.
Thank you, Hazel.
Thank you.
This felt good all over.
It did.
Just like Steven Universe.
Just like Steven Universe.
Thank you to
like
my
a hug
incredible.
for your heart.
Thank you to my incredible co-host Rachel Quirky Shank,
Thank you to my incredible co-host Matt, aka Stormageddon.
and thank you to all our listeners. We love having you, you loyal screen beans. And we
Yeah.
will see you at the movies or on a couch somewhere. Bye bye.
Bye.
Aurora, 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 Aurora. Metal to magnet, she will be mine. Aurora.
That's brilliant, and that's why I think all the stuff in the was my spouse is laughing off in the corner.
Because I still haven't seen any of it, and I had no idea you were talking about this, and I could hear the whole thing.
I didn't know you still wanted to watch it.
I totally still want to watch it.
Oh no, sorry. Did we just spoil this for Sarah?
We just did spoil it for Sarah.
I'm so sorry, Sarah.
I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
Sarah.
It's okay. It's okay. Sorry, I'm forcing 5 minutes of the podcast by cracking up.
It's fine.
I was completely spoiler free.
Well,
Every time I've asked you to watch it, you've had no interest.
It's not that I have no interest. It's bandwidth. It's not interest.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's fine.
I know Sarah can't hear me, but tell her that I love her and that I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Audio and
Never been so sorry.
Hazel and Rachel both say they love you and they're sorry.
I love you so much.
So now that we spoiled it for somebody,
Now that we spoiled that rose quartz is pink diamond.
I've been so good about not
for-
spoiling that for
For
anybody.
the
Anyone,
spouse that Matt Storm married.
Yes.
Well then,
Hold on. I gotta do something really quick. John? Rose quartz is pink diamond.
Yeah, rose quartz is pink diamond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know.
Yeah.
Cool.
Great.
Video games are a unique medium.
They can tell stories,
Immerse us in strange, fantastic worlds.
blur the very boundaries of our reality.
But at the end of the day, video games are fun. Whatever fun is to you.
I'm Jeff Moonen,
And I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
and on Fun and Games, we talk about the history, trends, and community of video games.
It's a celebration of all the games we play and all the fun we find within them.
And there's so many more games out there, so we hope you'll share in that conversation with us.
Fun and Games podcast with Matt and Jeff. Find us on certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
And happy gaming.